Good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us on this platform.
Good
Ma'am,
afternoon.
being the director of KJ Sumaya Institute of Management, what is your philosophy of leadership? How would you describe your leadership style?
I think what my leadership style has evolved, since the time I have become the director. I became the director of this institute in 2015. Over the years, I started realizing that we are in the pure service industry, and one of the most important things is to involve everybody, because at the end of the day, if we have to deliver excellence, it is not just the director's office that is doing it. It is everybody has to be engaged and involved with the institute. So my style of leadership, I would call it as collective leadership. I believe in getting people together. I believe in creating teams, and I believe that each team should have some specific activity to do. They should have an objective, and there should be an outcome also. So once I have decided that, I observe people, and then I try to fit the right person with the right job, and then based on that, I've seen how these teams, they get together and they start working, and the outcomes are always positive. Most of the times I've been very right in my identifying the people and selecting them for a particular job. So my mantra is collective leadership, and teams. It's teams that perform. Individuals may shine, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's teams. So I believe in this mantra, and involve people together. That's what I think. You can even get it confirmed from my colleagues whether this is the style that I follow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, now what are some of the biggest challenges you see both for higher education in general and for KJ Sumaya Institute of Management specifically?
I think the concept of education today is beyond the classroom. There is nothing like a classroom boundary. And this is a big challenge. You have different segments of consumers. Somebody who wants to, have a concentrated education, somebody who wants it over a period of time, somebody who wants it online, somebody who wants it offline. So this is how, the consumer segments, as far as the student body is concerned. Earlier it used to be one amorphous body, and there was one size fits all. There was no freedom, there was no flexibility in the system. But today what we see is that there is an evolution of consumers. There are different consumers, that is the students, with different types of requirements. And as an institution, we have to cater to the different consumer segments. So it's like, it's a market orientation of the educational industry. And the student is now our consumer, and we have to satisfy their demands. And this also, also our concept of a student is somebody who's, in school, in college. But I think a big chunk of the student community is people who are maybe 35, 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old. People who want to learn, reskill, their longevity has increased and the expenses have increased. Obviously, to be, to be employable, at any stage in life, you need reskilling. So they are also our big students. So the concept of the classroom, the concept of the student has completely undergone a change. And the big thing is about being market oriented. I think that's what it is. And that's what we are also trying, as an institution, we are trying to cater to different consumer segments with different programs. It could be an exec MBA, it could be a part-time MBA, whether you have the hybrid model. And then we also have various sector-specific MBA programs. So we don't follow the mantra or the philosophy that one size fits all. It has to be very market-oriented and very consumer-driven. The entire service delivery is very consumer-driven and consumer-led also. I should say that. Education is something which it's an industry which will never go out of fashion. It's nothing, but the only thing is that the requirements of the consumer would change, and the delivery mode and everything also will change. So this is, I believe, the challenges. And those who are not, as in any other sector, those who are not able to satisfy or move with the market, they are the ones who will be in finding it a little difficult. So that's what I think is the challenges, to be relevant in the new context. Yeah, that's what I think.
Ma'am, the educational systems in India and other foreign countries are structured very differently. In your experience, what can an inbound student gain from studying here in your institute?
Yeah, if you see education abroad, it is there's a lot of experiential learning that happens. It's very student led, The teacher is more of a guide and a mentor. And, we are also trying to move in that manner. We are, number one is we give a lot of freedom to our students and a lot of opportunities for experiential learning. So they are able to imbibe a subject, maybe have some they have teamwork, they have project work, they have field visits. So we our pedagogy, the focus of our pedagogy is to make the learning very, very experiential, so that he can actually apply the knowledge that he's learning. And this is what happens, it is in if you go abroad, if you see, the teaching is more to unleash the creative aspect, the inquiry mindset of the student. And this is exactly what we are doing here also in Somaiya. We've created various experiential learning platforms. So one of the important platforms that we have created is, for example, let's say we have something called as the Ankur ELI. So this is Ankur is the name of the project, and ELI is the experiential learning initiative. So on our campus, we have a Gujarati medium school. It's a vernacular school where children from the bottom of the pyramid come. So our students, they go on every Friday afternoon and they teach them conversational English and a little bit of math. So what happens when they're dealing with these children, it's not just about teaching, but it's also about imbibing a lot of things about these small children who come from slums area and things like that. So I mean, their mind also gets opened up that education or management or these concepts are not just for one segment of society. So we teach them the concept of inclusivity and to do out of the box thinking. That's what we do. And I think by this, we are closing the gap between how the students are learning in the Western world and how they are being taught in India. The pedagogy has to change. The subjects all remain the same. So we are also trying to move with the requirements, what is happening in the Western world, and we are trying to close the gap. Here, I would also like to add that we continuously reinforce with the faculty that you have to, when you get into the classroom, you have to try and see that the focus is on the pedagogy. Yeah, focus is on the pedagogy. Today also, I'm sure everybody faces this problem. The attention span of the student and the engagement of the student is quite reduced. So how do you engage the student for maybe a 1 hour lecture or a 2 hour or 3 hour? Unless you involve them as active participants, it's not possible to keep them engaged. So that's one challenge that the teachers have. But we focus on that. We tell them that you have to, and they are adults, the students who are in our institute, they are adults, young adults. And we try to understand their psychology and how is it that they learn, and try to create such suitable pedagogy. But it's continuously reinforced to the faculty that learning should be fun. It cannot be a drudgery or, it cannot be like that. Then that's not learning. Yeah.
Ma'am, being the director of KJ Somaiya Institute of Management, how do you strategize about the key programs and plans for the marketing and administration of your school?
We have, on a continuous basis, we have meetings with the faculty. We are all continuously reading the papers, and we're trying to find out what are the broad trends in the market. We also have a very good, for every subject, we have a board of studies where you have industry professionals and our alumni also sitting in the board of studies. We also invite our students, our current students, in the board of studies. Plus we have our academic board and all. So we keep getting getting insights and inputs from them, and on our own also we keep on scanning the environment and trying to see what are the new opportunities that are coming up. So like for example, recently I mean, we are going to now launch our Department of Business Analytics, because that's a very, very important area of management, where data analytics and all this is required. We've also renamed our IT department as the Department of Data Science and Technology, because we have broad-based it. Okay, we've set up a media analytics lab, and that needs to be inaugurated. Because of the lockdown, the ribbon cutting has been, it's got delayed. But we are investing a lot in all these things, and that's how we, So I think one is the technology part. You have to be in touch with the technology and what is happening, and the other is, of course, what are the new opportunities that are coming up. Ultimately, I think everything is linked with employment. Where are the employment opportunities coming up? That is how we'll have to shape the entire, strategies. Education is the big focus today is on employability, and employment opportunity. I mean, that's how it is. Yeah.
So you have been associated with the institute since 1995. You've also had an experience in the corporate sector. What are the key factors that keep you connected with the education sector?
I think the big excitement is about being with a young crowd. You are in touch with the young crowd, and they have their hopes and ambitions. So I mean, every time there is a new set of students coming in, I feel, I mean, this crowd, I mean, we are adding value to their lives, and that is what keeps me all the time engaged and energized. Because I mean, there's a lot to learn from the youngsters. There's so much to learn, and of course, I myself keep an open mind. I mean, I'd like to learn from anybody. And I think that's what is keeping me engaged. Maybe in the corporate world, I would have just stuck to some job and grown in that. But here I have a very broad exposure. I have taken it as it's a very nice place. I mean, it all depends on our attitude to our profession. What freshness can I bring into it? The more I keep an open mind, the more I keep learning, the more exciting the profession becomes. I have not got bored so far. I haven't got bored. I've made very good friends. Some of my students from the 95-97 batch, they even call me by my first name. I mean, that's the friendship. And I have retained that friendship, I always, I think also maybe I never behave like I'm sitting on a pedestal or something. I try to be one-on-one. That's my nature also. That's my nature. There's always any profession. I mean, it's not, I mean, in any profession, you can, if you have an open mind, you are always fresh. Otherwise, you just get bogged down by small petty politics and things like that.
So when you first came to the institute, what was your vision for the institute? Has it evolved over time? And how far along in implementing that vision are you?
I mean, when I first came to Somaiya, I felt it had a lot of potential. And even today, I feel the same thing, I feel there's a huge amount of potential, and there's a lot that we can do. There's so much that we can do. And when I joined the institute, there were just 3 faculty on board. Today, we are 80 plus. 80 plus faculty. So I've actually seen the institute grow. And I always think there is something new to be done, I like to do something new all the time. I don't want to get bogged down by, what was done before. I mean, there's so much we can do all the time. There's so much we can learn. I get excited by learning, I want to learn something new. I want to read something new. I didn't know about this aspect of my personality, but I've seen this only when I joined here. Okay. I've also been a student. I've also bunked classes, and I've also done everything. But I started enjoying this whole thing after I came here.
Can you shed some light on your roles and responsibilities towards the institute and the students?
It's a huge canvas, the roles and responsibilities. I mean, as an administrator, it's about faculty, it's about handling the staff, then, The students, of course, the expectation management of everybody. I think that's important, expectation management, because everybody is bringing something to the table. They need to be recognized and all that. So, I mean, expectation management is something that is like, yeah.
What do you see KJ Somaiya Institute of Management's greatest strengths?
I think the greatest strength is the legacy of the brand. I mean, they've been in the education sector from 1959. I think there's a huge amount of equity that has been built up. And another thing is about the location. It's in Mumbai, the big campus. Everybody's dream is, of course, to come to Mumbai. And they always believe in providing value. I think that's the big thing. Yeah, these are the big strengths, and we try to maintain that. We try to maintain the whole thing. We try to build on it. Whatever we have, we want to build on the whole thing and try to be better and better. And also the competition has increased. Like, if you say the B schools itself, the number of B schools that were there in 95, number of B schools now, that also has changed. But we maintain our position. We maintain our position. And that I think all stakeholders will say that, yeah, we have maintained our position in spite of so much of change and growth in the industry. We've maintained that all the time.
Do you have any extracurricular activities or programs to enhance the skills of students or expose them to the real world challenges?
Yes, we have so many. We have so many live. For every subject the student studies, there are live projects. Then we have a lot of, we have a huge amount of interface now with the alumni. And we have panel discussions. We call them as, guest speakers, take lectures. And then, live projects come from the industry. We do case studies. I mean, there's a lot that we do for these students, experiential learning. As I told you, we have around 28 student clubs and committees, and all students are engaged in some activity or the other. And these are real learning opportunities for the kids, serious learning opportunities. Like, for example, if somebody is in the alumni committee or admissions committee or PR committee, I mean, just calling up an alumni and taking his appointment itself is a learning for them. How to meet people, how to engage with them, and all that, organizing panel discussions, or maybe the PR committee, how do they plan the PR activities, how do they plan, how does the admissions committee plan? I think it's serious learning which they will not get, in any other, and they actually apply whatever they learn in the classroom into the real world situation.
With the competition so high, how do you guide your students to survive in such a competitive scenario?
I think the best way to survive in a competitive scenario is to build your own strength, to be inward looking. I mean, what is it that I have? Nobody is perfect, no one is perfect, but whatever talent and skill you have to build on it and you have to enhance it. So, I can compete by looking at the other person all the time and feeling sorry, uski kameez, meri kameez se, safed kaise. That's also a way of competing. But I think the best way to compete is to compete with yourself, keep on enhancing your talents, your knowledge and everything, And don't be apologetic. I mean, have your confidence. Everybody doesn't have everything in them. Somebody is good in writing, somebody is good in speaking, and so many things are there. Yeah. So, I mean, I think you have to take pride in whatever you have, and we always tell the students, build your strength and build yourself. It could be a foreign language, it could be anything. I mean, you pick up any skill that you want. We don't stop the kids. I mean, we are a platform. You come, you use this platform and you build your career. But, have confidence in yourself. And that's what I tell everybody also. Have confidence in yourself. Build your confidence.
What should be the institute's top priority of the next 10 years?
To maintain our position and to grow even bigger, to become world class. That's our, our vision itself states to be a world class research and teaching institution. And that's how everybody is got into the vision. And we are on the path. We are walking. It's a journey. I'm sure we will all be somewhere in the next 8 to 10 years. Definitely, I can see that the organization culture now has become very strong. There's a lot of collaboration and that working spirit, the co-working spirit. Plus, all faculty, students, they're all they're engaged with the institute, and a lot of research output also happening. Very good. Faculty are writing books, research papers, articles. They are on the board of companies. So I think all these are good indicators that in the future we will definitely, we will improve our position. If at least we will retain it. If the competition gets more, we are still retaining our position. So the objective is to be world class, definitely.
Any suggestions you would like to give to the current youth and the aspiring youth?
Build your resilience quotient. Build your resilience quotient. Learn to handle failures. सबकी जिंदगी में आते हैं setbacks. Tell me one person who hasn't failed in life, or who hasn't been backstabbed, or all these things continuously happen. There's nothing to. Don't give up. Don't give up. Life is too big, and you need to be more strong and have that strength of purpose and mind. Resilience quotient. We talk about emotional quotient, IQ, then EQ, spirituality quotient. I think the resilience quotient, the person who succeeds is the one who's handled failure. That is my definition of a successful person. Tell me one person who has not failed in his life. Everybody has failed. The path to success is full of failures, But you can't stop. You have to keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Setbacks to सबकी life में आते हैं. I'm a very positive person. I think I like to be very positive.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a very insightful message, and I'm sure our viewers would gain a lot of insights and motivation from watching this interview. Thank you for sharing your views with us, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.